Hey everybody, David here, and today I want to give my top 10 list for my favorite Star Wars characters. Now, there are going to be characters on this list that you might not agree with. Maybe some of them you will, but hey, all is cool because at the end of the day, we're all Star Wars fans, and we're all going to have a different perspective on things, So there's no right or wrong answer, and feel free to leave down your list in the comment section below because I'm always looking forward to what other people's lists look like, how different or similar they are to mine. It's always interesting to see the many different characters. Because we're going to always have a different point of view, if you will. So let us get right into it. This is my top 10. So let us begin. Starting with number 10, I have Han Solo. Yeah, Han Solo. I know this one might be a little bit of a surprise to a lot of people. I don't know, but there are a lot of great Star Wars characters in this universe. Obviously, if I had to pick between the two actors who have played Han Solo in the movies, I think both of them have been really great, but obviously Harrison Ford is Han Solo. So to me, the character, though, I like the other version too in Solo Star Wars story. I thought that actor did a really good job. But yeah, the character in general is just a badass character. So he's the gunslinger from the West. I'm pretty sure he shoots first. So we'll leave it at that. Number 9, Rey. I have Rey at number 9. This is my first character on this list from the sequel trilogy. Played by Daisy Ridley, who did a fantastic job. I'll admit, though, Rise of Skywalker maybe was a little sloppy on her story. But for the most part, I think the character in general, I like the character of Rey and what she had to offer. The character choices that they made with her, like her being the granddaughter of Palpatine, I blame more on the writing aspect. But other than that, like her personality and how she grew in those first two movies, I thought were really well done. And we could have had a better landing, but I still thought the character in Rise of Skywalker is still one of the high points of that movie as well. So moving on to number 8, I have Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson, my the first prequel character I have on this list. Yeah, Liam Neeson to me was one of the highlights of the Phantom Menace. I like Phantom Menace, but I'll admit it is probably my least favorite of the Star Wars saga. Um, but Qui-Gon was always a character I always enjoyed, and the little bits and pieces that we get from him, whether it's that little line of dialogue that Count Dooku says in Attack of the Clones, where hey, your old when he's talking to Obi-Wan, when your old master was around, he would have joined me. Uh, Little things like that, and how he was the first to discover how to interact with the living after going to the dead zone, I guess. Uh, Qui Gon has always been a great character. I think part of the reason is because Liam Neeson is a great actor and brought some uniqueness to that character that only Liam Neeson can bring. Moving on to number 7, I have Yoda, the wise old master Yoda. Some people might be surprised he's low on this list at number 7. To me, what is low? Because there's so many characters I had to leave off this list that I was like worried that you guys are. I'm still worried that you guys are gonna judge me for leaving certain characters off. But who do I take off of here? It's like, don't just say the Star Wars sequel characters because I think Rey and Kylo Ren. I just spoiled one of my upcoming characters, but I don't care. The sequel trilogy has some good characters, and I don't want to be one of those people that are like, well, just because I hate the sequel trilogy means I'm gonna leave all of them off. And like, no, you gotta look at some of the bright spots in those trilogies as well. Maybe not, unless you really hated those movies. But Yoda, back on topic. Yoda such a great beloved character who did pop up in the sequel trilogy also, by the way, and it was such a joy to see him again. And as a puppet, I mean, come on. Whenever Frank Oz does the voice of Yoda, it's always such a joy. Even he popped up in like 2 episodes of Star Wars Rebels, and as soon as it was his voice, I was like, oh man, that's so amazing. I think Tom Kane, who I believe did the voice in the Clone Wars animated series, I think he did a good job too, but Frank Oz, there's something about him that, like, he brought all our favorite Muppets and Sesame Street characters to life. I mean, the guy does a lot of voices for a reason. And he's done a couple of voice work for, like, Pixar as well. So, yeah, man, Yoda, one of his highlight characters for sure. And, you know what? You gotta love how he trolls Luke in Empire Strikes Back. I was just watching Empire last night, and he's such a troll. It's amazing. Moving on to number 6, I have Din Djarin, the Mandalorian himself, is on my list. You know, Mandalorian wouldn't be as great as it is without a great leading character, and Din Djarin is a great leading character. He's badass. He's starting to grow at his progression, mostly thanks to the child that he had to take care of, baby Grogu. I mean, yeah, the Mandalorian, man, he's not a character to pass by when thinking of your top 10 favorite Star Wars characters. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people started putting him on their list as one of as one of their favorites, because he is growing into this great character as we're seeing his journey through 2 seasons, and who knows where season 3 is going to bring that character. So, and I think Pedro Pascal is doing such a great job, whether it's just the voice once in a while, or whether he's on set physically and putting on the suit and taking off his helmet and showing those expressions and emotions. I mean, I teared up in that finale, man, and some of it was because of his acting alongside Baby Grogu. So Din Djarin at number 6, and he could keep growing. I could see if the series continues to do well with that character. And who knows, maybe one day we will see him in a theatrical film. You'll never know. You'll never know. Moving on to number 5, I have Kylo Ren. That's right. This is I already spoiled this one a little bit. He was somewhere on the list, but you didn't know how high. Number 5, Kylo Ren made it to number 5. I think he is one of the best Star Wars villains out there, and I think Adam Driver is freaking awesome as this character. He brings what Anakin Skywalker in the prequels should have been, I feel. And obviously, to be fair though, Adam Driver, it would have been interesting to see how he would have been if George Lucas had directed the Star Wars sequels. Um, but I think that's not a shot at George Lucas, by the way. Maybe a little bit, but Kylo Ren, I think, is the highlight, along with Rey, in the sequel trilogy, and his path from going, to this conflicted character to this really dark side. I thought the last one, Rise of Skywalker, should have killed him off, and again, that was another character that was treated a little sloppy in the final film of that trilogy. But I thought the first 2 movies were taking him in a really cool direction that I thought he would have been irredeemable, and I thought they should have stuck with that. But they decided to redeem him, which felt a little cheap and like they chickened out on what Rian Johnson had done. I'm one of those people that like The Last Jedi, and I would have liked to see what would have been the outcome if they had stuck to their guns on what they had set up at the end of that movie. So we'll never know, though. Moving on to number 4, I have Luke Skywalker at number 4. Mark Hamill is fantastic as this character, and obviously the heart of the original trilogy. And I loved his performance in The Last Jedi as well. I thought he was great back in that role as a withered old Luke Skywalker who kind of lost the hope that he, used to have, and then see him regain it at the end. That ending with Luke confronting Kylo Ren one of the most badass scenes with Luke. Yes, I know he was just an illusion, but the way it was set up, I remember the feels I had during that scene, and his last encounter with Leia too was also very memorable. Yeah, Luke Skywalker as a character though is a great character, man. And he's kind of like the Superman of the Star Wars universe, man. People, or the Captain America of the Star Wars universe. You look up to him, and even our favorite heroes have their bad days once in a while. And that's what I liked about The Last Jedi as well, where they took him there. I'll understand if people didn't like it, but I did, and I love him in the original trilogy as well as that main hero that we know him as. And to see him go from this young, whiny kid to this confident Jedi who's ready to confront his father, although with conflictions, it's a great journey to see unfold through that original trilogy and beyond. Uh, moving on to number three, I have Darth Vader. Now, Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader, and I kind of took a little jab at Anakin earlier, saying that Kylo Ren is the better version of Anakin Skywalker, in my opinion. But I will say Anakin had his moments, but his real moment was in Revenge of the Sith when he finally turned evil. I felt when he finally pledged his allegiance and showed how badass he can be. And I think, obviously, the original trilogy really makes Vader a frightening villain to go against. And even his scenes in Rogue One were great. He had a couple of episodes in Star Wars Rebels as well, where Darth Vader was a threatening menace in that series. Although I think he only like appeared in like 3 or 4 episodes, it was still great when he showed up, and you know that the heroes were facing something that they didn't know what was coming. So Darth Vader. Some people might be surprised at this one because who's at number one and two? Well, number two might surprise some people. Maybe not. Darth Maul is my second favorite Star Wars character. Not so much because of the Phantom Menace, although I really did like Darth Maul in the Phantom Menace. It was really Star Wars Clone Wars and Rebels that really elevated that character for me, that put a new spin on him, that gave him more depth and more personality. And Sam Witwer as the voice of that character does such a fantastic job. Ray Park obviously does a great job when he portrayed the character back in 1999. It was so great to see him once again in Solo for that brief cameo, but with Sam Witwer's voice, because obviously in the original film he was voiced by Peter Serafinowicz, who did a great job in that film. But I think Sam Witwer has definitely grown on us since Clone Wars, his appearance in Clone Wars, and then continued on in Rebels. So when you hear his voice as Darth Maul in Solo, it was like, oh shit, I know that voice. And yes, I think we do need Darth Maul, even though his story is kind of complete. I think there's still a lot you can do with him in the middle between Revenge of the Sith and his final appearance in Star Wars Rebels, where he ultimately meets his demise. So let us get some stories within that time period and see if we could get Darth Maul a little bit more. Maybe on some of these Disney Plus shows. You never know. Finally, my number one favorite Star Wars character is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, a lot of people might be wondering, David, Obi-Wan Kenobi is an old man, and if you are a true Star Wars fan, you know that Ewan McGregor rocks the boat in those prequels. When you watch the Star Wars prequels, maybe not so much in Episode 1, I think that's more of Darth Maul and Qui-Gon who really make that movie shine a little bit. I think Episode 2 and Episode 3 is where Obi-Wan really shines the most. And Ewan McGregor really takes advantage of that. And that's why he's getting his own Disney Plus series, man. He made Obi-Wan the coolest character in the Star Wars universe to me. I think he is the hero of that prequel trilogy, especially Episode 2 and 3. A lot of people complain about Episode 2, about, oh, the romance is so bad. Okay, but if you don't concentrate so much on the Anakin and Padme stuff, pay attention to the Obi-Wan stuff. The Obi-Wan stuff has some cool stuff going on, where it's more of a detective story of Obi-Wan trying to discover who this assassin was that tried to kill Padme. Something that maybe Anakin should have been doing too, but he was too busy, kissing and sexually harassing Padme. But Obi-Wan is the one that really makes Attack of the Clones worth watching. And if you haven't seen Attack of the Clones in a long time, I would recommend go and check that out. I think what Obi-Wan is doing, his storyline in that film, is definitely the thing that makes it a lot more watchable than I would say Phantom Menace. If you're someone that hates the Phantom Menace, maybe I agree with that. I tend to go back and watch all these Star Wars movies back from time to time, especially every May. I around this time of the year, I always have my Star Wars marathon, and I go back and watch all of them. Phantom Menace, a little bit hard to watch, but I do think Attack of the Clones is a little bit more easier thanks to Obi-Wan. And Revenge of the Sith. I mean, come on, man. That hands down, Obi-Wan is the hero of Revenge of the Sith. There's no way around it. Anakin Skywalker becomes Darth Vader. That makes him the main villain of that movie. Maybe Palpatine as well. But Obi-Wan is the true hero of that story. So with that being said, guys, I hope you like this list. If not, remember, you can comment below and tell me your list in the comment section below. There's no right or wrong answers. We just have opinions, and that's all that matters. So with that being said, I hope you guys can like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, everybody, take care.